we are now deploying ICE to fix the airports, which we are, by the way. Libs are losing their minds because it's actually working. And ICE is helping by arresting criminal aliens. How many illegals fly in our country? Can you deploy ICE to hospitals or to nursery, daycares in Minneapolis? Can we do that? Can we deploy ICE to every voting booth in America? Would that fix the fraud? Of course it would.
Whether or not it's working is debatable, but President Trump's decision to deploy ICE agents to help at major airports across the US has been met with excitement from MAGA talking heads who can't help but wonder, where will ICE go next? Cenk, we will get more into the reactions in just a second, but first, what are your 2 cents on ICE agents being at the airports at all?
So this one, I have 2 different thoughts on it. Number one, totally unnecessary. All this is nonsense, and the airports is less of a big deal than the voting booths. But they're both in an effort to intimidate people rather than to actually do their job. We'll explain why, and we'll show you how the Republicans are uniting around this idea, because it kind of leads to an authoritarian state. The only question is who's going to run that authoritarian state. We'll get to all of that. But on the other hand, I don't want people on the left falling into this trap either. So I'll explain all of that after you give us the facts.
All right, so on Sunday, Trump announced that ICE agents would be deployed to 14 major airports across the US to help TSA during the DHS shutdown. So on Monday, ICE will be going to airports to help our wonderful TSA agents who have stayed on the job despite the fact that the radical left Democrats who are only focused on protecting hardline criminals who have entered our country illegally are endangering the US by holding back the money that was, oh my God, this is a run-on sentence, that was long ago agreed to with signed and sealed contracts and all. Whew. But watch, no matter how great a job ICE does, the lunatics leading the incompetent Dems will be highly critical of their work. They will do a fantastic job. The great Tom Homan is in charge. Yes, the great Tom Homan. So despite the fact that ICE agents are limited in what duties they can do, and they don't even know how to do the job of being a TSA agent because they're not trained to do that job, just knowing that ICE agents were at airports sent some conservatives into a frenzy because in their eyes, this is now justification to send ICE to all kinds of places, including polling sites during the midterms. Take a look.
ICE is there. Like if ICE shows up at a polling site, and I show up at a polling site, I'm not worried about ICE because I'm not an illegal immigrant. It seems to me that actually making sure illegal immigrants do not show up at polling sites is not a horrible use of ICE, actually.
The ICE agents at the airports to help out, and remember they said they're not going to work the x-rays, it's too complicated. They're not trained for it, but they're trained to, wait for it, check IDs. That's why it's perfect training for the fall of 2026. This is why it's such a brilliant, this is another 5D chess move for President Trump. Let's get ICE into the airports to help out to the lines. They can't work the machines. You know what to do? Just walk them down. Hey, we're a speed thing too. Can we check your IDs? That's what's going to happen in the fall of 26 because folks, we're tired of having elections stolen.
Why are we even talking about the SAVE Act? You don't need the SAVE Act if you don't have a nation overrun with criminal aliens. Do we have the will to save Western civilization? It's got to start with this. It's got to start with getting the people who are antithetical to Western civilization and humanity and our way of life and America, like the hell out of this country.
Yeah, I really wish that we would stop pretending Trump is some kind of chess prodigy because he just isn't. I doubt he even knows how to play chess. But Steve Bannon went a little further than that. While speaking to Mike Davis, the president and founder of the Article 3 project, both men thought that ICE being at airports is actually the perfect test for the 2026 midterms.
We can use what's happening with these ICE helping out at the airports. We can use this as a test run, as a test case to really perfect ICE's involvement in the 2026 midterm election, sir.
Yeah, I think we should have ICE agents at the polling places because if you're an illegal alien, you can't vote, right? It's against the law. It's a federal crime for you to vote in federal elections. And so if you're an American citizen, you should be happy that ICE is there because you're not going to have illegal aliens canceling out your vote.
Pick them out of line starting today, and maybe the lines get shorter.
All right, so ICE has been in our airports already for a day. I know we have them here in Houston, and I know we've all seen the footage of ICE agents just kind of standing around, getting in the way at airports, even though they're fully in their garb and, armed for whatever reason. So to be clear on what ICE is actually doing at airports, there is some reporting on that. From CNN, they are not trained, for example, to operate the understaffed security checkpoints that are often the source of delays. Instead, White House border czar Tom Homan said they will assist with simpler tasks, which seems very fitting for them, ideally freeing up more TSA employees to perform critical and specialized security work. You're freeing up the TSA agent. They were already there working anyway. Okay, so according to Homan, they could relieve TSA employees of other tasks like monitoring exits and crowd control and allow them to be redirected to specialized screening work. But in reality, they're not really doing any of that. They're not doing anything that we can see, and they're certainly not checking IDs the way that Steve Bannon hoped they would. So reporting says that in the Atlanta airport, ICE had a constantly visible presence, but did not appear to be helping with check-ins or directing crowds, according to CNN's Ryan Young. One group observed by a CNN producer appeared to spend several hours largely talking amongst themselves, wandering the floor and getting something to eat. And I have seen a lot of footage there.
We, on the other hand, try to help you guys. So if you're starting your own business, at some point you're gonna need a shop. We have shoptyt.com. Yeah, but really, who do we use? Who do we trust? Well, that's Shopify. Shopify makes everything simpler. It makes checkout way simpler with the big purple button that they have. That really has helped us a lot. And overall, they've been wonderfully responsive to us. We wouldn't do it with anybody else. So if you're gonna set up a shop for anything that you're doing online, make sure you're using Shopify. And right now, if you sign up, you only get $1 per month trial. $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/TYT. That's shopify.com/TYT.
They've been kind of standing around the edges there, they said, clearly not involved in helping process the thousands of passengers trying to make their way there. That's from CNN's Ed Lavandera reporting from Houston. IAH has been a disaster. It's not exactly clear how they're helping, how they're alleviating the pressure that this airport is under. And even Senator Cory Booker had something to say. He told CNN that all he saw ICE doing was roaming around, and that's a quote. Now, immigration enforcement is still on the table, but even Trump said that that is not their priority right now. He said they love it because they're able to arrest illegals as they come into the country. That's very fertile territory, but that's not why they're there. They're really there to help. Cenk, okay, these are international airports where we have ICE agents at. There's plenty of illegal people in going through these airports. How is ICE to know which one of these illegal people are planning to stay in our country or they're just passing? None of this makes any sense to me. Does it make any sense to you? And is there any point in sending ICE now to polling sites? And is this something that we probably should have expected?
Yeah, so let's talk about airports first, then we'll go to the voting area. So at airports, they'll just be checking ID. First of all, no, they won't, but let's say that they were. What happens next? Or what happens when they see people getting off of an airplane and they're like, oh my God, they're all brown, what do we do, right? But wait, a lot of them are American citizens, a lot of them have visas, almost all of them have visas. Usually the way that a lot of folks come to this country and become undocumented is they'll come in on a perfectly legitimate visa and then they'll just stay after the visa runs out. So, but you can't get them at the airport because they have a visa, right? So are you going to preemptively arrest people with a visa? They came in here perfectly legally, so that doesn't make any sense. But the most important part of it, guys, is what ICE normally does is they arrest people that they think are undocumented. So if you do that at airports, what are we gonna have? We're gonna have mayhem. We're gonna have ICE agents tackling people in Terminal 7. So is that what we want? Okay, so now we're gonna go to like spring break vacation or go to visit your family and there's ICE agents like tackling half the people in the airport and what if they start doing shootings like they did in Minneapolis and in other places? Why don't you just have the government function? Why don't you have the government function and have the TSA agents do their job, and then ICE can go do whatever their job is? So now the much worse situation is the polling booths, right? And it's interesting that Steve Bannon, who pretends to be a populist, I'm worried about Israel, and I'm a populist, and I'm against war, but a lot of times I'm in favor of it. And secretly, I was working with Epstein. And then Ben Shapiro comes in, and hey, look at that, they agree. And Benny Johnson agrees, they all agree. Oh, a surveillance state would be great. And culture wars are awesome. Because you know who's really running this country? The undocumented immigrant that came in with $0. They have all of this power. Now, don't look at the people actually running the country, the donor class, right? Don't the Epstein class. Don't look at him. So Ben Shapiro loves it. He jumps in. He's like, yes, ice, baby. That's what we need. Okay, bring back vanilla ice. I need any kind of ice. Ice, maybe. Yes. So culture wars. He loves it. Attack the poor brown people. Whatever you do, don't look up. Don't look up at the donor class. So now at the voting areas, what are they going to do? Again, same thing. Are they going to tackle people? Are they going to arrest people in the voting areas? Guys, we already have very stringent laws. I know the right wing, I can't convince them. They won't believe it. No matter how many times we give them the facts, even the Heritage Foundation, the right wing think tank, could find like 100 cases over 30 years in a country of 350 million people. This idea that they're fraudulently voting is absurd. It's not remotely true. And remember, Republicans have investigated it in deeply red states over and over and over again, and they couldn't find it because it isn't there. It's something, so why would they even want to bring in ICE if it's not to catch the undocumented, the illegals, right? Because they're not going to send them to all the voting stations. They're only going to send them to Democratic areas to intimidate people and to delay things. If you notice, Steve Bannon actually made a joke there about like, to speed things up. And he smiled a little bit. Because the plan is to slow the voting down in the Democratic areas so that not as many Democrats can vote and not send ICE to a single Republican district. That's the actual plan. Now, at the same time, last thing, guys, I need you, if you're on the left, to not panic, okay? Because if you panic, you're gonna make it worse. Because if everybody rushes out there and they're like, ICE is coming, they're gonna arrest every Latino, they're gonna arrest every brown person who goes to vote. Well, if you do that, then people are going to be dissuaded from going to vote. And you don't want them dissuaded. So like the overall panic I see on the left, that's it, if you go to vote, ICE is gonna murder you. Don't say that, don't say that. Then you're helping the Republicans. It's a giant gift to them, right? So what are we going to do? We're all of us that are US citizens, we are all gonna go vote, and we're gonna be brave, and we're gonna be optimistic, and we're gonna be hopeful, and we're gonna get our country back. Let's energize, and I'm not telling you which way to vote, I'm just telling you. And by the way, even if you're not on the left, if you're on the right and you love this country, great, go vote. Go vote and don't let anyone intimidate you from voting. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.